Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. It's actually 11 a.m. in Paris time, and during this 45 minutes of show for the new edition of Campus France Live, we're going to talk about the Global BBA, a very prestigious program powered by ESSEC, and we are here connected remotely with the Switzerland, with Matteo KELLER. Can you hear us, Matteo?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's our pleasure. You're here in your hometown of Zurich, but you're the ESSEC Global BBA second-year student ambassador from Singapore, where you'll go back in a month. And we're also live with Alexandra MAGDEI, your alumna of the program.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being here with us for the next coming hour. And by my side, I have Marcella MORELLI. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
You're ESSEC Global BBA third-year student ambassador for the Cergy campus. And last but not least, Corinne. Hello.
Hi.
You're the Director of Studies for the ESSEC Global BBA program. We'll dip to this program in a minute, but as an introduction, can you introduce us to your institution, the ESSEC Business School, and how is it specific and a unique school?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for hosting us today. We're very happy to share a little bit about ESSEC and the Global BBA in particular. To tell you a little bit about ESSEC, well, first, it's a very old school because it was founded in 1907. And something that's very unique about this school is that it's non-for-profit. So not many people know this, but I always mention it because I think it's very important. It really sticks to the values of the school. Another key feature is that it's very international. We have actually 4 different campuses, and 2 in France, Paris area, and 1 in Singapore and 1 in Morocco. So that's really part of the DNA of the school. And then values, I mentioned that already, and it really shows in our strategy and the way we develop ourselves, especially with the RISE strategy. But I can talk more about this later if you have questions.
Tell me about the iconic campus of Cergy, which is of the ESSEC, sorry, which is Cergy.
Yeah, well, Cergy, as you say, it's really the biggest campus. It's where we host all our students coming for initial education. So from 18 to over 25, because we have a whole range of programs from bachelor to PhD with a whole range of masters as well. So Cergy is very lively, it's very big. We host 6,000 students overall. It's got a lot of stuff, gym, associations, many things like this. So it's, very, how can I say, it's really the spirit of the school and very close to Paris as well, quite convenient to reach.
People watching us right now, I think, okay, I might come. So first, I have to come to France, and there is still a little bit of COVID for the coming months. So how do you help students to come to France and to accommodate pretty well?
So of course, very important thing, we try as much as possible, as much as we can, according to regulations, to keep our courses on campus. As much as possible, we try to avoid switching online because we know that the experience is much better when we're all together on campus, professors, students, and staff. So we try to preserve that. And to do so, we really help students come to Cergy, to France. We have a whole range of services that help students with their visa, for example. We do know that it's not always possible, and there might be a situation in your home country that doesn't allow you to actually come to France, or just delay it, and that's okay too. You can start the program a little bit later, and you will have access to the Zoom, to the online classes if you need to take a few more weeks before coming to France. So that's the possibility.
You say too modestly because I know that you got awarded the Bienvenue en France accreditation with the 3 steps, which is the maximum rank. Can you tell us what does that mean?
So basically, the French Ministry of Higher Education has set up a sort of label that recognizes the efforts done by the institutions in France to welcome international students. And according to the quality of the service, you get 1 star, 2 stars, or 3 stars. We got 3 stars. Really not surprised about this because obviously we started providing this kind of services way before the label was implemented. So it means we have superior service in terms of counseling for visa, which is can be a bit tricky for some students. Housing, getting settled in France with the banks, etc. And then, of course, when it comes more to the program part, everything regarding academic advising, etc.
Well, we'll have the testimony from the students to check that you deserve all your stars, but I'm pretty sure that's for sure. We'll have so many subjects coming on later on, but here, since we are here to speak about the Global BBA program, what I suggest is that we watch a small video that presents the program. A lot of nice figures and nice pictures during this video. So can you tell us what was not in the video and that described the ESSEC Global BBA program?
Well, that's a tough one. The video was actually pretty comprehensive because we could see, all three campuses. I don't know if you spotted that, but there was Cergy with Singapore, there was Rabat. We saw a lot about student life and, of course, the courses. But I would say probably what's not in the video is the actual experience, the live experience of being in class, being on campus. And this is really, of course, the core of what you would be living, to get excellent education and learning a lot of stuff during those 4 years.
For all the people following us, I'm sure after watching the video, they want to come. And just as a warning, and to be fully honest, there is a very high selectivity.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course, it's a highly selective program. This being said, just want to make sure that nobody feels, you should give it a try because we are looking for our own unique profiles, and it might not be the same as the school next door. And I'm pretty sure it's not the same as the school next door, actually. So we are really looking for people who are obviously academically in good standing, very, very good academic profile, but we're also looking at personalities. And we want, students who are curious, very open-minded, who are really, of course, interested in business, but business is so wide, it can be many different fields. So as long as you show some interest and you are, willing to embrace one of the careers that are possible after the program, then you should consider applying.
Because the video mentioned training a new generation of leaders, and I know that you have over 6,000 applications a year, I guess. So what does make the difference in the final interview?
What makes the difference? Marcella, you want to take this one?
I think
I see you
well, even if you don't know what your plans for the future is, I think you have to be very willing to embrace all the experiences that ESSEC gives you, and you just have to be willing to go on that international experience with exchanges, with intercampus mobilities, work experiences. I think you really have to show that.
You were in Sao Paulo when you applied, right?
Yes, exactly. I was home.
And what was the trigger that made you want to apply, actually?
I think the diversity of the courses was what interested me the most. We have the opportunity to focus on 3 languages, and I started working on my French when I was home, but in ESSEC I could take a French course, and I could also try to learn a new language, which I think is essential for the modern business world. And then we also start the first 2 years with a very base fundamental courses of business, and the 3rd and the 4th you can choose your own ESSEC experience. You can create anything you'd like.
For those of you following us, I guess that in the chat, in the moderation box, you have all the link to the new site ESSEC EDU, and you can have a direct link to the Global BBA program page. Corinne, since Marcella just mentioned the question of the languages and the fact that now you are fully fluent in French, we could do actually the show in French if needed, but that would be unkind to many people watching us. In what language is the program taught, actually?
Actually, it's taught in both in French and in English. So depending on your, previous, on your profile, you would be either following in English or in French. And obviously, international applicants are by default registered in the English tracks. So we have English tracks in Cergy, the Paris area campus, and in Singapore. As for Morocco, it's in French for now. Maybe English later. We'll see.
Let's have a look at why the students chose you rather than other schools. Matteo, if you're still with us, Corinne just mentioned the fact that being a good academic is not enough, but you were a good academic, so you had several opportunities. And why did you finally choose to go to ESSEC?
Well, for me personally, ESSEC is a very international school. As she said, we have 3 campuses where I can go and study. But furthermore, this Global BBA program differs from other university programs. It firstly allows you to personalize, your experience. You choose what track you want to pursue. You pick the course selectives for your 3 and 4, and most importantly, you select one over 250 partner universities where you want to go on exchange. And that really did it for me. Alongside with the professional experience, you can get while studying at ESSEC. Combining the academic with the real-life working experience. And this was a key aspect for me, the learning by doing aspect.
That's interesting, because you live in Zurich, which is a trend-setting city. You're a hotspot of the international student world, and you actually chose to go to a French school that could trade you to go to Singapore.
Yes, exactly. That's where I'm studying at the moment in Singapore, and I really enjoy it there. Singapore is a very vibrant city with a lot of cultures and history as well, and I really enjoy it.
And Marcella, why did you choose finally France? I'm sure that with your academic background, you had the opportunity to go to the USA or other places in Europe.
Well, I must admit, I considered going to America and the UK, but when I saw that I had the opportunity to study near Paris and still in English, I was sold.
So Paris is still very attractive too.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that a little bit later when we speak about the student life. But Corinne, maybe can you tell us there is not only Paris, there are also courses. So what's the balance between theoretical and practical courses on the Global BBA?
That's a good question, because actually ESSEC is really well known for the fact that our pedagogy is based not only on delivering knowledge, but making sure that students practice it. And it's really based on going back and forth between pure academic life and practical parts of the program, where either you go on internship or we have seminars that are more how can I say, experience-based in a way. So it's really a mix from the beginning of the program. As soon as the program starts in the first semester, there will be both those, core courses in finance, in financial accounting and marketing, economics, etc. But there'll also be a lot of seminars throughout the year that will help students bond together. That's a very important point, team building and get to know each other. Get to know how to learn together and to progress together, and more generally speaking, build some soft skills throughout the program. So yeah, that's really how we mix the two aspects.
And it's all, of course, always evolving with the fact that with COVID we had to adapt ourselves.
Oh yeah. Our professors have been very creative. No choice, just like anybody else and anywhere else, obviously. But it's a real source of innovation, definitely.
Marcella, can you tell us what's your favorite class and why? Maybe you have a little 1 or 2 anecdotes that you want to share.
I would say my favorite courses were the macroeconomic course and the international marketing. And I'm definitely a more mathematical person, so me liking marketing was definitely something surprising. And they're both extremely challenging, and I think they're the courses where I would have to have had worked the most. For macroeconomics, more because of the mathematical aspect and the exams, but marketing because the entire semester is a group project, and in the end you have to deliver the largest report on earth and a virtual game simulator, and that was amazing.
And the fact that a mathematical person like you, like yourself, enjoyed marketing, which is kind of a surprise, was due to what? The ambience in the class, or the talent of the professor?
I would definitely say the professor, and he really pushes you. And sometimes I feel like the more humanitarian courses don't have as much of a challenge, but he really shows you that it can, and a big challenge.
What's his name?
Jean-Jacques André.
Okay, so Jean-Jacques, if you're watching us, just a big applause, and thanks to you. Matteo, can you give us your favorite class and tell us why?
Yeah, sure. So I'm also a mathematics person, so I like the maths, the statistics, and yeah. So I really like these two classes, and also it wasn't a subject, but it was more of a simulation game that we had to do, where the whole cohort, so like the whole clinical campus, was divided into groups. And each group had to run its own firm. It was this computer simulation, and where you had to crunch the numbers and apply what you actually studied the past semester, and high-frequency ratio.
Oh, nice. Corinne, what we hear is that your students evolve a lot. They're good academic background, they're solid in mathematics, but they're here to have some fun and gain some confidence with the classes.
Yeah. It's true that, okay, so Marcella and Matteo are very good in math, etc. It's a criteria we look at, just want to mention that. But at the same time, you don't need to be, there are different levels among the students, and that's okay, because we have some foundation courses where we bring everybody up to the level that is required. So we'll look at this at the admissions. So you still need to have minimum level in math, but still you don't need to have a specialization in math for your IB or A level. It's still okay to consider applying. And then obviously we're not just gonna deliver knowledge on those core subjects, but we want you to evolve, and that's why the program is 4 years actually. That's why it's a 4-year bachelor's program, because we make sure that you get a chance to have different kinds of experiences, and not just study from a very top-down perspective. And as you can see from the testimonials of the students, is really embedded in the program throughout the 4 years.
Tell me a little bit more about the international partnerships that you have in the program.
Okay, well, that's a very strong point of the program. We have over 175 partners, so institutions worldwide. Another very important feature of the program I need to mention is that all the students will go on exchange program. It's compulsory actually, so it's not if you want you go, no, you have to go. That's a degree requirement, and so you're sure to go somewhere. So of course there's an selection process, allocation process, etc. But we have great partners in Europe, in the US, in Asia. The best business schools in the world, they're all, not all, but we have a few partners with ASSB, Quest Accreditation, etc. So it's really top-notch network that you can benefit for either 1 semester or 2 semesters on exchange program.
So it's 6 to 12 months, and you have up to 11 double degrees. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, we have 10 international double degrees and 1 double degree in France with University of Assas, which is a bit of a specific track for French speakers.
For French speakers, and Assas is a very well-known faculty for both economic and right.
And law, and also law. And journalism and communication.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's, but yeah, double degrees, we have, double degree programs, in Brazil, right? So with FGV Abape in Rio. Another one I can mention is the one with Beida, Guanghua University in Beijing. Which is a fantastic program, Future Leaders program, which is 2 years in year 3 and 4. Very selective as well with a scholarship. It's really fantastic. What else can I mention? We have so many actually.
Well, you also have one with Warwick University.
Yeah, that's an exchange program.
Which is where Alexandra went. Can you share with us your experiment that you had over there?
Yes, absolutely. So hello, everyone. I've had the opportunity to do an exchange at Warwick Business School when I was in my third year at ESSEC. And I was actually planning at that time my future studies, actually. So for me, studying at Warwick was an opportunity to experience another academic environment and another country in order to better understand where I want to pursue my master's. I think I benefited from a lot of synergies from this exchange because it gave me an insight into how people study in the UK, which is much more theoretical compared to what I did at ESSEC. But I think it contributed a lot to my knowledge and in the end helped me find an internship in luxury.
In luxury?
Yes. I came back to Paris after my 6 months in UK.
So you would recommend warmly to go to Warwick?
I would recommend going to Warwick if you want to experience the British academic, but I would have preferred to go to London. Warwick is in Coventry, which is a small student city. And for people who are looking maybe to explore, to travel, they definitely have a choice with ESSEC due to all the partnerships that they have with other universities.
That's a very honest and transparent testimony. Thank you, Alexandra. Stay with us. I have other questions, but now let's move to the professional world. And can you, Corinne, talk about the professional experience that the students receive during the program?
Okay. So as we mentioned several times, is really an important part of the program as well. And the students have 3 different major steps in the program with the professional experience. One is as early as the end of the first year, because we really think it's important that they, try it out very early on and start, refining their choices. It's a 3-month internship, which is what we call operational internship. It's at basic level, but it's for most students the first exposure within a company. So it's really the first one. The second one is at the end of the second year, and it's a different perspective because that one is what we call field experience, and it has more like a social touch. It's really meant to have students get exposed to social, economic diversity or cultural diversity. And then the last one is more towards year 3 and 4, so towards the end of the program. And it's either a 6-month internship, which of course will, give the students a more thorough experience within the company with a proper mission, or what we call apprenticeship, where the students get a contract for 2 years and get some stipend during these 2 years. So it's quite comprehensive, I must say.
Well, let's do it in the way it comes. So let's start with the internships. Where did you do your internship, Marcella?
I would say my most interesting one was in the French National Health Agency during the pandemic, where I got to work at a vaccination center. And it was definitely a boost for the French and a very lively experience, very real.
And you had the opportunity to give a lot of meaning to what you were doing, actually.
Definitely. In the more administrative part of it. So it combines the field experience with the aspect of a little bit of business.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you saw so many people getting vaccinated, and you allowed us to be here live in a studio and not stuck in our houses. So thank you so much. Matteo, where did you do yours?
So I only did one internship because my second one is coming up in 1 semester time. So I did mine at Porsche Asia Pacific in Singapore, and I supported the development of the Porsche corporate strategy. And so this was also my first time working in a business environment. So it was quite special for me to really work in an office and host meetings and work independently. So, yeah. So
it's a good experience.
Yes, it's a very excellent experience, especially because it's the first time working there. And in the beginning of your studies, you don't know where you're going to end up for a job, maybe later on. And this first internship really gives you a broad direction in where you want to go.
Mm. And Alexandra, for you, it's a little bit more old, but I'm sure that you remind perfectly how happened your internship and where.
Yes, so I did my internship at Christian Louboutin in Paris, where I've learned about supply chain management in the luxury context. And it has been a very enriching experience because I have learned about supply chain management. I didn't have the occasion to take courses at ESSEC on this subject, so it benefited my professional and academic path. And right now I am planning to build a career in luxury, so it demonstrated my interest.
And they gave you some shoes with the famous red on the ground?
Yeah, of course they did, yeah.
So that was a nice internship. Corinne, what we hear is that your students have a full opportunity of very diverse internship. Is it due because they are very witty and they get along, or does the ESSEC help them?
It's both, actually. Of course, my students are good, but definitely we help them because that's also the value that's provided by ESSEC. We have fantastic career services that is implemented both in Cergy, in Singapore, and as well in Rabat in Morocco. Basically, the career services will help on three different things. We have career advisors that help students, prepare their professional plan, get ready for interviews, for prepare their resume, how to apply online, use the network, etc. And then we have another team that is really taking care of the actual internships and experiences to make sure that the missions are aligned with what we expect for the program, and also to make sure that students will be in a good setting. So we check all this. And then the last part of the team is taking care of events and giving opportunities to students to actually meet people from companies beforehand, so that they can get a chance to understand better what is this kind of function or this sector, etc. So there are tons of events on campus actually happening all the time.
So you help them both on practical aspects and also mentoring to feel really confident, and then you facilitate the encounter with the companies.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a lot of time and a lot of people working on this, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a big team actually, over 20 people just in Cergy. So.
And after the internship, you do your apprenticeship. You're doing it actually right now, I think, at the Procter & Gamble.
Exactly.
So can you tell us your full experience, how you got that? Was that difficult in the beginning when French is not your motherly tongue?
It was definitely difficult in terms of searching for jobs. I think every student will struggle a lot with that for their first experience. But with the career services, we have our own website where there are offers exclusively for ESSEC. We have a lot of external offers, and it really helps you gather a base and start applying. And as it goes, and the career services receives offers from companies, they send it directly to students. So, and sometimes if it's from alumni, so it's definitely people who share the same experience as you, and it's easier to relate to some extent. And in terms of interviews, I think it was my first challenge because they were all in French and I had never even done an interview in English. So it was a scary experience. But eventually I did find it with the Career Services Network. And I ended up in Procter & Gamble here in France in the supply chain department in customization.
So you mentioned the alumni. So when you had to do an interview in French, you can actually ask for help from the other students. I'm sure they were willing to help you now.
Exactly. You feel very welcomed by the ESSEC community to message them on LinkedIn, message them on Facebook, message them through the ESSEC email to just ask questions, ask for tips, how their experience has been. And we actually have a Brazil alumni section, and I actually got to meet a lot of people there in this journey, which is very cool.
And they give you some French language tips for the interview?
A little bit of everything, mostly of how it is to work in France and of a few differences compared to Brazil and how to prepare for that and what to expect when you arrive at the office.
What would you say would the biggest difference that you mentioned between Brazil and France?
I think French people follow their schedules very strictly. After they start at 8 and when the clock strikes 5, they are ready to leave at the door. I thought that was very funny. But it is a very more informal environment, at least in my experience. And I really enjoyed it.
It's funny to listen to Marcella because, of course, if people from Germany were there, they would say that we are their Brazilians not following the schedule. So you help the students actually get to all the international codes that they have to shift on every day.
Absolutely. That's both in the courses, because we have a series of courses in the seminar that will address that topic, intercultural management and intelligence, and through the fact that we send them overseas no matter what, and that's part of the experience. Maybe on that point, I forgot to mention about partnerships. We have specific tracks in the program that are really specific exchange. We have one very prestigious one with Berkeley Global in the US. Yeah,
nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We have one, another track which is called IBA, which is again very selective. So Global BBA is selective, but IBA is even more selective. You have to be part of the program first. And that one is with the Mannheim University, with University of South Carolina, and with FGV in Brazil again, and ESSEC in Singapore. And the students will travel to all 4 campuses. So that's really, students are super lucky. I wish I could have done that. And another one I'd like to mention is, again, with the University of South Carolina, the Responsible International Leadership track, which focuses, as it says, on responsible international leadership. And you get to stay, just like for Berkeley, for 1 year in the US with the possibility to have a visa for internship afterwards in the US.
So we see that all of your students are working pretty hard, actually very hard. So what for? What do they become afterwards, after they got their diploma?
So there are many careers possible. Don't worry, they work hard, but they party hard as well. It's just reasonable extent, but they have a life. So that's actually one.
We'll come to this later.
Yeah, but just want to make sure that I don't want to scare people off and say, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be insane." No, don't worry. So in terms of careers, when things have to get serious and you have to go to your professional life, is very diverse actually, because we are a generalist business program, and students are trained to embrace any kind of career, of course starting at the level that is adapted to a bachelor's program, but you could work in business development, in sales, in finance, in supply chain, just like Marcella or Alexandra at the time. You could work with marketing, obviously, auditing. There are many different paths that are possible, and basically it's really for you to make your own path and choose.
And one question that we don't like to raise in French, because French people are known to not to mention money ever. But what kind of salary can your students expect after they get their diploma?
Pretty good one. So according to our study, our survey, after graduation, the students usually land a job around 49K. So that's an average, obviously, depending on the sector and the job. So 49,000 euros per year. So yeah, it's a very, very nice figure, I think.
Yeah, I confirm you. That's a pretty good.
Not a bad start.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit better than your apprenticeship, but yes, that's a good motivation to carry on. Do all the students start to work after the Global BBA program, or do they become just afterwards?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Actually, roughly 2/3 of our students go for a master's program after the BBA, and the other third will mostly go working, and we will also have a minority that goes for their own entrepreneurship project. So we have a strong focus on entrepreneurship, both in the BBA and the school itself, and we are raising, a bunch of entrepreneurs. So with ESSEC Ventures, we have an incubator that is really helping them. But the majority still, and that's just normal, will go for either master's program or working directly after graduation.
And for those who go work directly after graduation, I read somewhere that 87% of them find jump before 6 months after graduation. That's pretty impressive stuff.
I don't know the figure by heart, but it's something like this.
Well, let's ask Alexandra how it worked for her. Alexandra, can you tell us a little bit more about your path after graduation from the Global BBA? Did you hesitate between many jobs or continuing your studies? How did that work?
Well, I was confident I was going to pursue my second cycle of studies, my master's. So when the pandemic loomed in, I decided to defer my admission at INSEAD, and I took 1 year to think about my professional path. and to work on my personal development. And during this gap year, I've had the opportunity to be part of Women at Dior, which is a mentorship program. And I have been nominated a McKinsey Next Generation Women Leader, which has helped me right now begin INSEAD and bring my diversity to this very selective and international program.
All right. Corinne, INSEAD is known to be maybe the most selective program in France. So your Global BBA program really opened all the doors.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We have students that go to some of the best masters in the world, you know, LBS, Bocconi, Instituto di Impresa, University of New South Wales in Australia, Hong Kong UST. I mean, I can name a lot, but if students want to go for a master's abroad or in France, they can really get the best.
And last but not least, you mentioned it, they're not working all the time. There is also a little bit of life on campus. How would you describe your life on the campus of Cergy, Marcella?
Well, I was lucky to have a very normal first year before the pandemic came in. And I would say the highlights of the campus, it's very organized in terms of student life. I think they try to do the most to cater for us. And we have the BDE, which is the student body, which organizes the event, organizes the parties. And I was shocked at how organized it is. I think that's really the word. They have, it's very systematic and it's very fun. And you also have your student associations. And I chose to go for sports and do volleyball because I was doing that before and it's my favorite thing. But you also have student associations pertaining to each country, to entrepreneurship, to finance, to economics, to really everything.
Yeah, I read somewhere that you have over 100 associations present at the campus. So one of the biggest difficulty was actually to choose which one.
Exactly. I have friends who are in 3 or 4 associations.
And even better, you can actually create your own if you don't find what you like there. So,
yeah, tons of it are actually created. I thought that recently debate clubs were created recently. Booking clubs. So it goes far beyond business actually.
Absolutely,
issues.
Yeah. It's a lot of. I mean, it could be business related, but it could be just personal interest. Like sports and outdoor sports or championships or I don't know, cooking or whatever.
And even if you're not part of the association, you're still invited to their events. I know, for example, ESSEC Japon also does like foods every year, every 6 months at the school. We have the Arts Association that invites you to events. It's very interesting.
And for all of you, once again, in the chat moderation, you'll find on the essec.edu website, you'll have the brochure dedicated to association life on the campus. Matteo, is the life on the campus in Singapore as pleasant as in Cergy?
Yes, definitely. I'd say it's a bit smaller, obviously. We are only around 120 or like 150, 200 students on campus, so nothing compared to Cergy. But still, it's a very nice campus, and there's all sorts of student associations as well. Like you already discussed, there are so many associations you can choose from. Personally, I joined the music association because I play a lot of instruments. But yeah, with the COVID, everything had to be shut down for the past 1.5 years. But I'm sure Singapore will open up rather soon, so we can have our associations back.
So you have a local band, actually.
Yes, we planned on doing it, but COVID ruined it for us.
With many different nationalities?
Yes. There were people from all over the world.
Well, my wish for your 2022 year is that you can actually have some concerts live in Singapore. One last word about the life on campus is housing. Did you get any accompaniment by the ESSEC to find housing?
Yes, the ESSEC team administration in Singapore, they really support you on finding housing facilities because there are no housing provided by ESSEC like in Paris. But they really help you look for apartments or condominiums That's what most students choose, because they have a gym and a pool area and other facilities. But yeah, all of my friends, and including myself, we meet up with other students from the same class, and then we go and live in the same apartment.
Seems nice. Seems really nice. Enjoy. Marcella, Matteo just mentioned the fact that in Cergy, some housing is actually offered by ESSEC. Did you take profit of it?
So I actually stayed in the ESSEC housing my entire first year. I stayed in the Restez du Port, which I think it was the newest one. It has a gym. It has many rooms for students to study. And it was actually there that I met my best friends. So it was very common for us to almost every night meet up for dinners. We just sit in the common rooms and eat together, study together. So not only it helps you make friends, which I think for international students is the most important thing. And most of the students who stay in the ESSEC residences are international. So you're in a very comfortable environment, I would say.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest worry for all the parents watching us right now, which is saying like, come to France, they don't know the place, will they be able to meet people, have decent food? So you actually take really good care of them with the housing.
Yeah, of course. So it's a choice. You don't have to stay at the ESSEC housing if you don't want to, but international students have priority. So as long as you respect the deadline to send your file, you will get a room in one of the residences, because we know how difficult it can be, especially for first year bachelor students. They're very young, so we make sure that they get a slot. And of course, we give other kinds of advice, as I mentioned before, for getting settled in France, basically.
And we already arrived at the end of this live show. That was quick, but I would like to make a round table with the last word from everyone. Maybe Alexandra, can you give us your best advice for all the students listening to you right now and who are willing to come to France to study at ESSEC? What would be your advice?
My advice would be to keep an open mind and to explore all the unlimited opportunities that ESSEC offers, both from personal development and career perspective.
Keep it short and simple. Thank you so much, Alexandra, for being with us today. Matteo, same question?
Well, yeah, I done that. Be open-minded, try new things, go out and explore the time you have at ESSEC, whether it's in Singapore, Cergy, or Rabat. Well, the campus's professors and students are great, and the rich diversity of the campus, especially in vibrant Singapore, certainly contributes to an unforgettable student experience.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being live with us today. Marcella, I'm sure you're not going to tell the students to be narrow-minded, obviously. But what would you recommend them be?
I think if you really don't want to limit yourself, if you're afraid of staying in one place, I think ESSEC is a great option, because you can travel as much as you like. And if you get accepted, really take advantage of the travel opportunities. You have to spend your first year in one campus, but then for the second, the third, and the fourth, you can literally be at any corner of the world, because you can do your internship abroad, you can do your exchange, you can do a double degree. There's so many options, and really take advantage of it, because you have all the support.
And after listening warmly to all those testimonies, Corinne, what would be your final word?
So I would say, in terms of advice for potential applicants, well, continue to study well, because obviously that's going to be like the minimum requirement for us to consider your file. And then make sure that it's a fit for you. And for this, there's nothing better than contacting student ambassadors, talking to current students, to make sure that really the culture of the school and the program fits you, because it's a two-way thing. We look for students who fit our own culture and values, but it has to fit you as well. So that would be my recommendation.
And it's a wise one. Thank you so much to the four of you. For those of you watching us, I hope that you know actually better the ESSEC Global BBA program. If that's not the case, if you still have questions, you can go to essec.edu on Instagram. That's ESSEC International, on Facebook, ESSEC Global BBA, and you can continue the discussion on ESSEC with the students ambassadors, discover other students, and testimonials testimonials from alumni on the YouTube ESSEC Business School and the Global BBA playlist. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you want to share it with your friends who didn't have the opportunity to be live, it will be available in replay in a couple of days. Thank you all. Take care.